Hello, Mira here from Buzz Career Counselling, and it's Employment Chats number 13. I kind of feel like I've done 13, but anyway, we're doing 13 again. It must be lucky. A couple of things have been coming in, and I was on a webinar last night with other career counsellors, and we were sort of talking about the changes that are happening, in the world of work, and also the, the stress that might be being caused at the moment in the world of work. And one of the things that I mentioned was that some people are going to be going back to work who haven't been at work for maybe 4, 5, 6 weeks, and they're going to be going back to work potentially next Monday when the schools go back. So that's come forward a week. We were sort of thinking it was the 25th, I think, and so it has come forward quite a bit. So just wondering how people are feeling, how they might be, sort of coping with the fact that, we've sort of been adjusting, to this unknown amount of time to staying at home, and all of a sudden you might be, okay, you've got to be back at work on Monday, or maybe you've even had to go back already. And so what it is like to, now adjust back to work, but as we keep seeing everywhere that, what's normal and, will we return to normal? There's a whole lot of undercurrent going on, with what you've gone through mentally in the last 6 weeks to be able to adapt to being sort of isolated and not working and, a bit disconnected face to face, of course. But I think also, I've been seeing a lot of people have been reflecting quite a bit in that time as to, okay, so, they might have lost 1 job or 2 jobs. How do I cut down costs? And then once you sort of cut down costs, it's like, do I actually need, to be working full time? Can I reassess my finances? A lot of people, I was trying to get onto my accountant at the start, and, everybody was just flat out sort of reassessing finance. So I think there's been a lot that's happened in this time, and now we're sort of, it's like, okay, we're going back to work. I'm just wondering how people are feeling with that. To sort of readjust, but it's not like going back to work after a holiday. It's been quite a different break, let's say. So I'm just wondering, what sort of things I guess we can consider if we are going back to work. What is that going to be like? So, some people might be thinking, yay, finally get to go back to work, and they're feeling good about it. And, that might mean money's going to start coming back in, that they've not had money for a certain amount of time, reconnecting with colleagues. And I often talk about how much work gives us other than the paycheck. So, we've potentially been missing all of that connection and belonging and contribution and a sense of purpose and all of that. So, a lot of that will come back, which is fantastic. So people could be quite excited about going back to work and looking forward to leaving the homeschooling, leaving the schooling to the teachers, and that's their genius zone. And then there's other people who might be feeling a little bit anxious, in returning to work as well. I've been hearing a few stories like that, particularly people who have, that compromised immune system, or as we were talking last night, there might be other people in your family with that compromised immune system. So you sort of, it's like, well, even if your health is good, it's like you go back to work, but then you're potentially, sort of bringing that home into the workplace. I have a father who's in hospital at the moment, so I just went and visited him. So I'm a little bit extra conscious on top of my own health, is to sort of just stay healthy so that I can, continue to sort of see him as well. And other people might have, things going on. So one thing to mention is people, someone was saying to me, it was sort of mentioned that I would go back to work when school went back. So of course that's Monday. So maybe just check with your employer. Is that still the case? Because, really, everything's changing by the day. So just check in to see whether that's actually the case, that you do have to go back to work. and whether there's a sort of chance for negotiation or discussion, or, you know, what's that going to look like. I'm quite keen to sort of see what's going to be in place in the schools. I've got a grade 11er, so she's going back Monday. You know, what's going to be in place in your workplace, the sort of the measures that they're going to take in order to, you know, make sure that, you know, there's hygiene and, you know, sanitizers and, you know, maybe some changes to the normal practice that happens, and just see if you can open that conversation up. I don't think it's, you know, a bad thing to kind of just mention how you're feeling, and, you know, whether there's a possibility that you might be able to still, you know, work from home, and even, you know, half the time, so that's going to sort of make you feel better. Some people have been able to work from home and actually work more productively. I don't know, has anyone had that experience? I work isolated when I'm at my office anyway, so it's not much difference. I don't get to chit chat to many people, but I have noticed, you know, you don't have to sort of get up and, you know, get there and take my laptop and set my laptop up, and even just that transition from home to office. So I've noticed I've had a little bit extra time, and I can be spending that time, you know, working. So you might be able to, you might need to sell yourself a little bit if you're wanting to stay home a little bit longer, as to the benefits to the employer of you staying at home and working from home. You know, maybe you can give a little bit of extra time, or you know, you get less distracted by other employees. Some colleagues just chat all day. So, you know, try and see if you can sell it, if staying at home is really what you want to be able to be doing. For some of you, you may still have children at home until the following week. So you might see a little bit more play out. But I think with the change in restrictions on the weekend here in Queensland, and we're not going to sort of see that effect for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. So we'll already be back in the school mode. The other thing to consider is perhaps just to keep an eye on the factual health advice. So not all the blah social media that's going around, but just the health advice that's coming out regularly. Just be a little bit in the know of that when you're maybe chatting to an employer. You know, we don't, you're sort of, if you're trying to convince someone of something, you know, the facts are good. You know, these are the facts. This is what's in place at the moment. These are the regulations. You know, is that possible to have those regulations in the workplace? So we try not to sort of dramatize too much. Just keeps things factual, and you know, just it's a genuine question. You know, how's that going to sort of be able to keep me safe, keep me healthy in the workplace? What measures are they taking? And I guess that, you know, the flip side, if you are going to return to work and, you know, sort of have that anxiety, what I had at the start of all of this sort of 6 weeks ago was, you know, I was getting quite fearful. I have, you know, a teenager who was at work and at drama and school, and, you know, and I was sort of trying to shut down here and work from home. But I had to kind of just bring it down to, okay, what can I control? And all I could really control, eventually I controlled her not going to school, but at that time all I could really control was me, you know, my hygiene, my safety, my, you know, mental well-being, and just sort of shut out all the social media and just kind of bring it down. So it's sort of a bit like that again, but we're at the other end now. So if, you know, or you can, if you do have to go back to work and you've got that sort of anxiety, then just really sort of go, okay, well, I'm, you know, it's like going to Coles or something like that. I'm just going to take the measures I can. I can't really worry too much about what everyone else is doing, because that's out of my control, and then that's where the anxiety just shoots through the roof. So just sort of stay focused in what you're doing and in your workspace, and keeping your place, you know, clean and healthy. I guess it's a bit like, you know, we just went out today, to the shops and then, you know, to the hospital, and it's sort of like all my friends who are nurses, you know, you just never sort of never touch your face. So you can still have your own measures in the workplace, and, you know, try and sort of just be calm knowing you're doing all you can do, really. Does anyone have any thoughts or questions or anything they wanted to add there? And I think that was all I wanted to mention. But I think the world is so divided into, you know, sort of some people are sort of saying what corona and other people are freaking out. And I think, you know, everyone's kind of somewhere in between all of that. It's such an unknown space. And it is very unknown for your workplace as well. You know, they're sort of trying to work out what to do and, you know, best practice and how to help you and support you. And so don't, you know, it's okay to have a conversation. It's the sort of conversation that no one would have ever had before, so new. So it's okay to have a conversation with your workplace and, you know, try to sort of work in together how it's going to work for both of you, you know, benefits of the organisation, but also to sort of keep your, you know, well-being intact and your, you know, physical and mental health sort of safe. Okay, that's all I wanted to share today. And if you've got any questions or any comments you want to add, please add. And, you know, we can start the supportive conversation. Okay, have a good day. Bye.